everyone, welcome to Valley View Living. If you're new here, and welcome back if you're one of my very treasured regulars. My name is Megan. I live on a very small farm out in New South Wales with my 6 children, and we homeschool and we homestead and we do all the things. Well, we're learning as we go, as we all are, right? Now, it's actually school holidays here in New South Wales at the moment, which means that every day feels like it has enough time to fit everything in, which is very nice. It's relaxing, it's quiet. Even though we are homeschoolers, of course, we still have our own routine, which means going to classes and activities and social groups outside the house. And during the school holidays, we just keep all of that on a real down low. We just turn everything down a bit and become a little more home-based or just a bit more spontaneous. So we might head off somewhere fun for the day, but we don't plan much at all. If anything, we like to plan to catch up with a lot of our farm chores. Now, I am holding down the fort by myself at the moment. My husband has a specialist medical appointment. Now, if you live in semi-whoop-whoop like we do, that might mean traveling to the next capital city, which it does for him at the moment. So it's myself and the 6 kids. We are going to get this done. We are still going to eat well. We're going to feed our farm full of animals well. We're just going to get this done. We can do this. So knowing that I would be tackling the meals and the farm chores solo, I did take some time last night once the kids had gone to bed to just sort of get a bit of prep done in the kitchen, make sure everything was tidied up and ready for me to just walk in and start working first thing. So what have we done? Well, we are going to make some smoothie bowls for the youngest members of the family who might be getting a little bit tired of my fried egg obsession, which is totally fine. This is really simple, just some frozen berries. They're going with strawberries at the moment because they're so sweet and yummy. Mostly yogurt, 90% yogurt, a little bit of milk, just to give it a nice texture, and lots of fresh, local, raw honey. Now I'm just going to blitz that up until it's beautiful and smooth, pour that in a bowl for them. This is for my littlest 2, and then they have chosen to have some oats sprinkled over the top. I think this is really delicious with granola on the top myself, so that's just a yummy breakfast option, which just takes a couple of minutes to put together for them. And for the rest of the crew who might like something a bit heartier, we are going with sunshine toast. So we've taken a few slices. This is the thinner supermarket style sourdough, and we've just taken a glass to cut out the center section of a few slices. I do have some of this nitrate-free ham left. I've just pulled out of the freezer last night. I'm going to fry that up as a side. I really did want to have a quite protein-heavy breakfast because I knew I would be busy handling the farm chores straight after breakfast for a while. I wanted to make sure every child was quite satiated and would not be feeling the I'm hungry 20 minutes after I had finished the kitchen shift, if you know what I mean. So having this ham, which I'm just frying up as though it were bacon, having a fried egg, having some good quality toast, and then of course I've also got this smoothie sitting on the bench. If there's any left over, someone can come along and grab some of that as well. It's just a great way to make sure that they're done, they're fed, everybody's happy, and we can move on to the next job. Of course, we're going to fry up these little center parts too. That's like everybody's favorite, isn't it? The little roundies that have been cut out. Why does it taste special when you cut food in a different way and present it in a different way? Why does that make it taste different? I mean, it doesn't, but it certainly becomes more appealing when it's something that is not the everyday, right? So, of course, sunshine toast is just popping those pieces of bread into the pan. I like to make a little tiny piece of butter in each little cutout and then breaking your fried egg straight into. And it's just cute and yummy, an easy way to have egg on toast. So as soon as I have the humans fed inside the farmhouse, we've got to go and get these animals fed outside the farmhouse. And the first livestock on the list are the teensy little chicks that are still in our brooder box inside the house. So I've just had to double check on their water supply, make sure everything is good there, and give them a serving of seed, filling up their dish of seed. Well, it's actually a layer pellet, not seed. So we are fortunate in that we can buy organic layer pellet locally. Now, rather than go with a specialist chick pellet or something formulated for chicks, I have actually just gone ahead and ground up the layer pellet that we feed our full-grown hens and ground it down into size so that right from day one, the chicks can be pecking that up and eating the same nutritious food that the adults do. Now, the reason that I do that is because a lot of chick feeds that you can buy on the market are medicated. They come with sort of prophylactic medications that aren't necessarily needed for our environment or for our farm or how we run things here. So I like to make sure that what we're getting is what it says on the pack, and I know exactly what I'm feeding them. And especially because this flock is staying on our farm, these are birds that we may well be eating one day. Well, we will be eating the roosters within the next couple of months. I just want to keep them on a quality feed and know that, that's what we'll be eating ourselves very soon. Next, we'll go out and we'll check on what we're calling our teenager chicks outside, which are out in the chicken tractor. They are looking fantastic. I'm starting to be able to tell the males apart from the females, the hens from the roosters. Roosters just look a lot uglier. They look gangly and they have these long, awkward legs, and their necks are much longer, whereas the hens are already looking neat and pretty, just like the difference, I suppose, between hens and roosters out in the chicken yard. So I'm not 100% sure, but I can see I've at least got a handful of hens coming up there, which is fantastic. That's what I want. The more hens, the merrier. The less eggs we need to buy, the better. So we can see the plum trees have stopped blossoming now, and they've moved on to tiny little baby plums or apricots. I'm not sure which. We will find out in about 12 weeks' time. And I think I need to start a plan for netting those trees so that I can keep the birds off them. They are just a terror. Next, we'll go and give the cows a handful of hay. They do not need that at this time of year. The pasture is finally looking green and lush, but I'm really just giving them some hay every morning and every night to keep them in a routine and keep them tame and friendly. So I like to check on them. Of course, they're expecting their babies now. And next is pigs, 1 bucket of soaked grain and 1 bucket of pig scraps. You can see how wild they get at feed time. I have tried feeding them out of feed buckets and keeping it off the ground for them, but they immediately just toss it all over the place. I guess that's why when I think about traditional British farms in my mind, they had a large established trough, and you put it into the trough so they're not just eating all this dirt. So that might be ways for us to improve in the future. You can see the babies are growing beautifully, and we've got to start separating the males from the females pretty much right about now. So usually all our pigs have all this space. It's got to be, I don't know, could be a good almost 1/4 acre, I reckon. It's pretty big paddock, like an isolation paddock in an original dairy farm. But we have been running the pigs in here, but lately mum and babies have been escaping every time we've tried to let them free range in here. So we need to put the time in to just really check every tiny centimetre of the fencing, because pigs are just natural escape artists. They can squeeze into a mind-bogglingly tiny space and escape. So we've tried running hot wire all along the perimeters. They're just going straight through it. We really need to check every little apart and probably use something like, you can use like tent peg style to peg down the bottom of the fencing all the way around. It's just one of those things we haven't had time for. So they're over in the pig nursery at the moment, and they really want to get back in here. So that is on the farm to-do list, which is, you know, not short. Oh yeah, definitely. I feel like that's probably not true for people who raised on sugary crap. That all the animals are fed, I know that I can file away in the back of my mind that all the animals are happy and content, food and fresh water. The kids have handled feeding our cats and dogs. We have 2 cats and 2 dogs, and that is the job of our teens to feed them in the mornings. So I know that that's done. That's fantastic. I'm going to go in and have my first hot drink of the day. And because I've got my little small army of little darling kids with me, they definitely want some of this hot chocolate that Mum is making for herself. Now, this is what I have instead of coffee. So over the years, I just started becoming very sensitive to excess caffeine. This is cacao with milk and maple syrup. Now, of course, it still has caffeine in it, but I just seem to handle it better. It doesn't make me jittery. It doesn't make me anxious in the way that coffee, even decaf, does. And I mean, coffee is so good. In saying that, I'm just remembering how much I love the smell and the taste of coffee. I love it. But it's terrible for my body, so I have transitioned away to, on busy or tired mornings, just having this nice, gentle, hot cacao. And I make it quite strong in the saucepan for myself, and then for kids or someone else who likes it sweeter and milkier, they just top it up with a bit more milk and a bit more maple or honey, and that works well. Now, I had one of my kids ask me to make them some more of this yogurt bark so they can have just something they can reach for themselves and eat when they want it, and I'm all for that. Any snack that I can make in advance and younger children can go and grab it for themselves, I absolutely down with that. So this is really simple, just Greek yogurt sweetened with raw honey. Mix that together. I'm going to put this out on the baking paper on my tray, and the kids like to decorate this with berries, so some sliced frozen berries and raspberries and blueberries. And then we will pop this tray into the freezer. That is hardened and ready in a couple of hours' time. You can cut it into little edible pieces or slices, and it's just an awesome high protein snack that makes it, you know, just as we were talking about earlier with the sunshine toast, it just makes the same meal more appealing, more interesting, and keeps kiddos interested in things that are good for them. Now, to round out this busy farm morning, I'm going to get going on a hot, nourishing lunch for the crew. And how can you beat a soup? We have been eating some chicken drumsticks lately. If you watch my grocery hauls, you'll see I've been fortunate enough to buy some great chicken drumsticks through our local Woolies. So we've been having those as meals, and after we have the meal, I am very careful to gather up those drumstick bones and turn them into a really delicious chicken broth. Just using those bones and whatever vegetables work for me in the moment, because I have them in the fridge. I think this time around I had celery, carrots, onions, so we had some really good flavor in that chicken broth. And it just leads naturally into making the family a beautiful, filling chicken and vegetable soup. I'm going to make this one creamy because I have a little cream left in the fridge, and this is going to be just a meal in a bowl and keep everybody happy and ticking over well into the afternoon, and we'll have dinner later on. So I'm just going to start by dicing up a whole onion. I've got 2 small potatoes there chopped, and also 1 large carrot. Now, I had 1 whole cob of corn in the fridge, so instead of having to crack open a tin, I'm going to go ahead and use this one fresh, just cutting off the kernels and stirring it into my soup. This is so simple. I'm just dicing the chicken breast, which I'm going to saute off in my big stock pot. And the seasonings I'm going to go with today are just garlic, dried onion and paprika and fresh parsley at the end. Now, in thinking of that, what really would have gone beautifully in this soup, especially with the cream, is thyme. So if I could go back in time, you know where I'm going with this, I would definitely add some of the fresh thyme from my garden. It would be so tasty in this. So once I have sauteed off the chicken breast, I am going to remove it from the pan just because it is breast. It can dry out quite easily. Then I'm going to add a little more butter and olive oil back into the stock pot. Saute off all those beautiful fresh veggies. Add a few seasonings, top it all off with chicken broth, a small amount of milk, and the rest of my cream, which was just a little bit of cream, probably 50 to 100 ml, that's what I had. And that's all it needs. Halfway through the cooking, I'm going to add a handful of some pasta shells. These are just gluten-free shells that I had handy. And that's it. As soon as those shells have cooked through, 7-8 minutes later, I'll pop all that chicken back into the soup, and the rest of that fresh diced parsley will go into, and then it's ready to serve. And this was a hit. It was so lovely to make a meal like this where every child eats it up happily. It just feels rewarding, doesn't it, when you don't have to battle that as a mum or dad in the kitchen. What's your favorite hot meal? If you have a little extra time in the kitchen and you're puttering about, maybe it's a blowy spring day like it is here today, or maybe a cool autumn day, and you just feel like spending a little extra time putting a meal together. What's your favorite hot dish? I would love to hear. I think things change from around the country, even here in Australia, and of course around the world, to the meals that we find automatic go-tos, things that are just comfort food, but also comfort cooking, right? Because there are certain dishes that I find just so much more enjoyable to make than others. I love the relaxed nature of holidays, the way that I don't have to feel so regimented with getting this done and on to the next thing. Helps me a bit with that conscious, slow living that I know just makes every day much more enjoyable for me, with my family, with my kitchen, taking care of people. If I can be fully conscious in the moment, it just becomes so much more enjoyable for me. Of course, holidays aren't so much about travel for us. With a whole farm to manage, it's not something that's easy to do, to go away. If we ever plan to travel, it would be something that takes probably 1 or 2 years of planning. And that is no exaggeration. It would take us that long to make something happen, I think. How about yourself? Do you travel with your kids, or are you past that stage? Are you traveling by yourself or with another family member? Or are you like me, pretty happy as a homebody here at heart? Thanks for keeping me company today as we get these farm chores done and get the family fed. I really do enjoy your company. If you have enjoyed my content, please do like or comment or subscribe or share my content with your friends. Let people know that I'm here. And that helps me to invest that time to keep making videos, which I really do enjoy. And I'll see you next time. Bye.